Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk about cognitive process. But first, let's get to know our learning outcomes. So in this lesson, challenge yourself to attain the following learning. First, explain the role of constructivism in facilitating learning. Second, describe strategies to promote knowledge constructions. And third, describe strategies to facilitate concept learning. Okay, so this would be our learning outcomes in today's lesson. Now, this is our topic today, which is constructivism. The null and under constructivism, there are these knowledge constructions and concept of learning. So this is um, the main topic, our main topic. All right. So this is the advanced organizer of our topic today. So under constructivism, there are views of constructivism. That would be the individual and social constructivism. And under constructivism, the characteristic of constructivism. And on the other side, the organizing knowledge. So let us define what is constructivism. So constructivism, it is an approach, okay? It is a learning theory that suggests learners actively build their own understanding about the world by somehow assimilating new information into their existing mental framework. So, constructivism, no, it highlights the hands-on activities, collaborations, and cognitive processes that would lead to the students to construct their understanding about the particular informations. So in education, this approach, it suggests or encourages the learners to explore, question, and discover knowledge rather than simply receiving information passively. Okay, so that is constructivism. All right. So now let's uh, talk about views of constructivism. So there are two views of constructivism, the individual and the social constructivism. Now, what is individual constructivism? It emphasizes individual internal constructions of knowledge. So this view focuses on the individual, the personal cognitive processes of the individual where they build or construct their own understanding about the particular um, informations through activities, through personal reflections, experiences, and cognitive process. So in this view, it highlights the learner's role in constructing meaning, okay, in constructing meaning and having cognitive processes. So that is individual constructivism. Now, on the other side, the social constructivism. What is social constructivism? Knowledge exists in a social context and is initially shared with others instead of being represented solely in the minds of individuals. So if individual constructivism focuses on individual having or constructing or building his or her understanding about the informations, on the other hand, social constructivism focuses on the social interactions. So here, social constructivism expand the idea by highlighting the importance of social interactions. That the meaning or knowledge where the knowledge can only occur or constructed through collaborative activities, discussions, and engagements with others that would provide such opportunities to share their perspectives and somehow they're co-constructing knowledge. All right, so that is social constructivism. So these are the two views of constructivism. Now let's move on to the characteristics of constructivism. So there are four characteristics of constructivism. First, learners construct understanding. So they construct knowledge in a way that makes sense to them. So here, learners cannot construct their understanding about the particular information if that information did not make sense to them. But they can definitely build or construct their own understanding about that information if that information did make sense to them. Alright? So in this characteristic, it emphasizes that learners are not passive recipients, but actively constructing or building their understanding about the informations through activities, experiences, and personal reflections. Alright, so that is the first characteristic. Now, the second characteristic is new learning depends on current understanding. So the background information is very important. So of course, the background information is very important in this characteristic because it will serve as the basis of the new learning, because the new learning will somehow depends on the current understanding of uh, the learners. All right. So in this so that is the second characteristic. Now, the third one, learning is facilitated by social interaction. So, constructivism recognizes the importance of social interactions, wherein they believed in creating community of learners within classrooms that would facilitate learning. Alright? So, that also here, it emphasizes that the idea that learning is somehow, or the idea of acquisition of knowledge or informations is influenced by the interactions of the students with one another, their through collaborative activities and um, experiences and reflection. So that is the third one. Now the last characteristic is meaningful learning occurs within authentic learning tasks. So here we can only achieve a meaningful learning if we allow ourselves to engage into different authentic activities. So talking about authentic activities, it is the relevant or an activities that related to a real life situations. Okay, so here it highlights the constructions of knowledge and understanding about the authentic task. So those are the characteristic of constructivism. Okay, so now let's move on to the organizing knowledge. But first, let us define what is concept. So a concept is a way of grouping or categorizing objects or events in our minds. So in simpler term, concept is a mental grouping of similar things. Alright? It is how our minds organize and make sense of the stuff that are kinds of the same. or alike, whether it's actual objects, no, like car, or most abstract like love. So therefore, concept is like a mental folder where we put everything, anything that is kind of the same. So that is concept. Now, under concepts, there are three types of concepts. First, concepts as futureless, concepts as prototypes, and concepts as exemplars. Now, let's talk about concepts as futureless. So when we are talking about futureless, concept as futureless, or defining features, we are referring to an essential trait that every examples possesses. Okay, so just like for example, think of a triangle. It is somehow defined for having three sides. So, if something claiming to be a triangle that doesn't have this fundamental three side, then it is not a triangle. Alright, now concepts as prototypes. Now here, concepts as prototypes, it is the idea or a visual images of typical examples where it is formed based on the positive instances that the learners um encounter most often. All right, and concepts as exemplars, these are meaning to say that it has a variety of examples. Okay, so here it allows learners to know that an example under the concepts of exemplars may have variability. Alright, so exemplars, variability, a variety of examples. So that is concepts. So those are the three types of concepts. The concepts as futureless, concepts as prototypes, and concepts as exemplars. Now, let's move or let's know how constructivism can be applied in facilitating learning. So first, of course, it aimed to make learners understand a few key ideas in an in-depth manner rather than taking up so many topics superficially. So here, no, um, learners can understand our topics if we are just providing them the key ideas, not like taking whole topics or lessons. So next, give varied examples. So as a teacher, we must provide different kind of activity, examples for them to deeply understand our lessons. Because having such a variety or different kind of examples can somehow, we can assure that our learners will have more knowledge in our lesson. Okay, and provide opportunities for experimentation. So as a teacher, we must give some opportunities for our learners to experiment their understanding in our class, their what they have learned in our class, and provide lots of opportunities for quality interactions and have lots of hands-on activities. So here, providing such opportunities or different kind of activities will allow our students to interact with one another, and that would lead to have equality interactions, and in that way they can share their perspectives, they can share their ideas, their what they have learned, what they have constructed, no, in our lessons. So through this, we can have a quality interactions and relate your topic to a real life situation. So here, relating our topic to a real life situations can have a big impact to our students where they can deeply understand our lessons by relating the topic to a real life situation. And lastly, do not depend on explanation method all the time. So you must be able to expound or to explain well, or like make your lesson understandable and comprehensible to your learners. You must be flexible and you must not depend on the explanation method all the time. So that is how we apply constructivism in facilitating learning. Alright, so that is all about our topic today, which is about the constructivism, the cognitive process. So that's the end of our topic today. Thank you everyone for listening.